Hey everyone, how's it going? I want to talk about The Flash and my frustrations with the movie. I did not particularly enjoy the movie most of the time, and I'm just gonna let you know right now, if you were a fan of this movie, this is not the video for you. I'm not trying to be mean. It's just my opinion. Just go somewhere else. If you don't, if you can't handle criticism for your favorite project, then just don't be here. I'm just gonna be honest. So yeah, the Flash. Let's just talk about the Flash. The biggest thing that stems all this movie's problems, you could all the problems that the movie has, you could lead it back into this one thing, is Warner Brothers not knowing what the they were doing with this universe for like 5 years. If you don't know about the development hell that was the Flash movie, there's so many changes, so many cast changes, so many story changes, directors. The Warner Brothers didn't know what they wanted to do after Justice League because Zack Snyder's was a very controversial figure, and it doesn't matter. And then just the whole thing that happened in the last year with Henry Cavill and all that, they did not know what they wanted this movie to be, and the final product really shows it. Somewhere in this movie, there is a story about Barry Allen learning about moving on, confronting his grief, his trauma, learning how to move on from his mother's death, listening to his father, learning that things just happen and they're it's how they define us. You know, these scars are not what make us broken; it's what they make us whole, in a sense. The lesson that Bruce Wayne was trying to tell Barry Allen at the beginning of the film. There's a powerful story about that somewhere in this movie, but it's undermined and boggled in a mess of plot lines that don't make any sense. A Flashpoint being, for one, terribly adapted. They don't do Flashpoint exactly like they do in the comic. And in just either way, why is Flashpoint the first story you're adapting for a Flash live action movie? The first ever Flash live action movie. I get that it's the most popular story, but it's not the story to start off with. It makes no sense. Besides a couple of jokes being funny and like some action sequences being pretty cool sometimes, the only real positive thing that I could say about this movie is the scenes where Barry is talking to his mother. Everything with his parents, even his father, those scenes are the most memorable. They're the most heartfelt. They're the most well written. They drive the most emotion out of the audience. That's what I'm here for. I'm here for that story, and I'm sorry, Michael Keaton Batman beating up two versions of Barry in a very, very bad wig, by the way, wasn't intriguing to me. Having a Barry clone that was very obnoxious for most of the time, even if you had some pretty cool scenes, emotional scenes, like that one where they get in a fight and Barry doesn't want to tell him that he traveled back in time because of his mom. That was a pretty good scene. And then some other scene I forgot, but like him in general, him having Flash powers for most of the movie instead of a more experienced Barry was pretty annoying. It was just forced contrivances in the plot that didn't allow for the plot to go any faster than it probably could have. Supergirl was pretty cool. I mean, would I say she was necessary for the story? Not really. Would I say Zala was necessary? Would I say the story was necessary in general? I can't tell you, to be honest. The quote-unquote villain, Dark Flash, is just a worse version of Savitar, if I'm being honest. It's not. It's just like, why? And it didn't have to be. There's a really cool story there about a Flash that's been trying to reset the timeline for millions of years, but he keeps doing it, but it just doesn't happen. He grows old. And then he sees our main Barry try to do it, and he's a little bit more successful. He gets mad, whatever. There's a cool story in there, but he only had 2 minutes of screen time. Like, why wasn't he the main villain? Why did we have to have Zod? Also, some weird things with the Flash mythos. Is Reverse Flash a thing? Like, didn't he kill Barry's parents? Like, was he supposed to be like a secret reveal for the next movie? That's probably not gonna happen. I can't tell you. The first hour of this movie before Barry starts doing Flashpoint is actually some really cool stuff. The action sequence at the beginning feels pretty cool. There's some corny lines like with the Batman and Lasso of Truth thing. That was a bit corny, but besides that, the sequences, the beginning actually was just fun. Him meeting up with Iris, talking to Bruce. That's some pretty cool, just slice of life Flash stuff that I would have loved to see expand into a full movie. And then we get Flashpoint stuff, which is just kind of boring because Barry doesn't have his powers, and the obnoxious one has the powers. We're going on a fetch quest for Supergirl, and then we have to fight Zod just to find out that we can't kill him anyways, and we have to reset everything in the first place. Like, all that is just, it's cool if you're a fan of Michael Keaton, like, that's fine. His action sequences were actually pretty cool, but besides that, it's not doing anything for me. It's just kind of boring. And then the movie, for me, the best part of the movie is the scene between him and his mother at the end, where he lets her die. That's the only good scene in the movie. That's the most powerful scene. That's the only one that got any real emotion out of me. We just needed a story focused on that. But they wanted to prioritize cameos, and the very distasteful cameos that they have in this movie anyways, with Christopher Reeve, George Reeves, they have, it's so insensitive and it's so dumb. Deep-faking actors for this, especially dead actors that you can't get. George Reeves specifically, if you don't know that story, George Reeves was a Superman actor back in, I think, the 70s or something, and he essentially took his own life because Superman was such a burden on his career. He thought that he had a failed career. Anyways, he basically killed himself. Superman, though, his role as Superman had a part to play in that, and he had no family, by the way. So who approved of his cameo, I cannot tell you. So why they decided to put him in this movie, it's just downright disrespectful and disgusting. I don't know. The acting is fine, I guess. I will. Okay, Ezra Miller, despite his controversy, their controversies, their performance as Barry Allen, the main Barry Allen, is pretty good. I won't lie, it's pretty good. I like his mannerisms. You can kind of tell that he was going more into the autistic side with Barry Allen. Barry Allen definitely seems to have some autistic body language in this movie. Ezra Miller's performances as the obnoxious Barry, it's whatever, I don't really care. Ezra Miller, despite their controversies, very, very they did a very good job in this movie, performance-wise. The movie's ugly. The movie is downright disgustingly filmed, shot. The VFX is just bad, and they try to justify it with like, oh, the CGI is meant to be bad. Yeah, no, that's bullshit. This movie's ugly. That's just straight up. For me, the biggest elephant in the room is that this doesn't feel like a Flash movie. It's not telling a Flash story well. It's not really getting into his supporting cast, what makes the Flash the Flash. It's just a movie with a bunch of DC stuff crammed in there to reset the universe for the next slate of James Gunn's whatever he's gonna do. It's really just that at the end of the day. It's just a movie that you can skip. It won't mean anything. You're not getting anything very emotional from it. If you want good Flash content, just watch the first season of the show. The first season of the show does actually almost everything this movie does way better. It's actually kind of funny how similar they are. And you know what's funny? The first season doesn't even do Flashpoint, and it still tells a story about Barry moving on from his mother's death. And that scene in the finale where he lets her die and comforts her in her moments of death, it's so much more powerful than this movie. Anything that this movie can even touch, it really is. At the end of the day, The Flash is many things. It can be an honest movie with honest intentions, but it's just driven right to the ground by a corporation that it feels like they really wanted this movie to be something else, but it's just not. It doesn't feel like a filmmaker made this. It feels like a executive board was like, oh, shoving this, that. It's just really, really, it's disappointing. It's disappointing that the first ever live action Flash movie is, by the way, bombing right now, not making any money, at least compared to the other superhero blockbusters of this year, and just it's not even being well received by the fans either. I'm not seeing anybody that's going crazy over this movie. When I walked out of the theater, I saw a group of guys that I walked past, me and my friend walked past, and they all said this movie was ass, and I'm like, I want to chime in this conversation, but if I do, we're going to be talking there for hours, so it's whatever. But yeah, The Flash is probably a 4 out of 10 for me. It's not good. I wish it was. I really do wish it was, but it just isn't. So yeah, unfortunately, rip DCEU. I know Aquaman's coming out soon, but I highly doubt anyone's going to watch that either. So, but that's it. And let me know what you think. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Like and subscribe. And have a good day. Thank you so much.